This is another favorite World War II story, probably because it ends so happily. It has to do with Japanese sailors on board a stricken aircraft carrier, the Battle of Midway, in which the Japanese lost four of their best aircraft carriers, and the tide was turned in the battle for the Pacific. Uh, what happened was that one of their best aircraft carriers was hit by torpedoes and bombs, and it was sinking. Admiral Yamamoto told wired or radioed a destroyer to go and hit the aircraft carrier with torpedoes and artillery fire to sink it, so that when the Allies would not get hold of the plane, get hold of it. So but the destroyer came up and it fired a torpedo, at least one, into the side of the aircraft carrier, which was on fire. And lo and behold, they saw a bunch of sailors coming out of the hole that was caused by the torpedo. They had been trapped down there with fires all over the top of the plane, the flight deck and so on, and they had no choice but to keep going deeper and deeper in the plane as the flames separated them. And so finally, they got to a point where they had no more decks to hide on, and they were really up against it. And at that moment, the torpedo hit to sink the ship, and the hole was big enough for the crewmen to get out. And they waved their arms and shouted for joy at getting the second lease on life. And the destroyer came over, took all of them off in his boats and so on, and then fired several more torpedoes into the aircraft carrier to sink it, and then they proceeded to catch up to Yamamoto. And it was an absolute miracle that these guys were just a few moments away from death, and they were saved accidentally by this torpedo attack. It's one of my favorite stories, and it's great with all the carnage of the World War II to tell one in which people's lives are saved.